guys, what's up? Thank you, dude. Thank you very much for having me on board. And it's
My
my
pleasure.
pleasure. I mean, it's my pleasure. I think like last year it didn't work out. I don't know why, right? But this year we made it happen. So thank you very much for having me. And I know there are a lot of guitar players here from all around the world. So I'm gonna be speaking English, okay? Because I don't know how to speak Spanish yet. Maybe someday. Maybe you can teach me, man.
Yeah,
Matias, maybe
probably
you
we
can
can
teach me
we
some.
can exchange lessons.
All right, and then we're gonna have this amazing translator for you guys, which is who is Pablo. So thank you very much, Pablo, for being with us tonight as well. And so I'm gonna be like speaking for around like 30 seconds, and then Pablo is gonna translate, okay, and we'll go from there, okay.
Great. So, André Nieri está diciendo muchas gracias a todos por tenerlo a bordo. Es un placer para él estar acá participando de este taller. El año pasado, lamentablemente, no funcionó, no recuerdo bien por qué, pero este año, gracias a Dios, las cosas se dieron y pudo participar. Sabe que hay muchos guitarristas de todos lados del mundo, pero va a estar hablando inglés ya que aún no sabe español. Quizás Matías ahí le tiró el palo que le pueda enseñar. Estaría bueno ahí un intercambio de clases y vamos a aprovechar que, bueno, me tiene de traductor y él va a hablar en inglés durante 30 segundos para luego yo hacer la intervención en español.
Awesome. So before we start, I want to know like what are their levels, Matias? Do you know? Are you even aware of that? Like what's the students' average levels?
I think, as I know, there's people who are mid-level, some advanced guitar player, and also people who are beginners. So there's a,
A lot of okay.
a full frame of levels, but I think mostly there are like mid-level guitar players.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm gonna be looking this way because I'm actually seeing me that way. But sometimes I'm gonna be looking at this camera sometimes because I'm actually seeing me on Zoom on that monitor. So guys, don't worry about it. Okay, I'm not looking away. Okay, just to be clear.
Bueno, ahí André nos estaba señalando que en algún momento va a estar mirando hacia el lado, hacia su lado derecho y algunas veces directamente a la cámara. Esto se debe a que está con dos monitores y en una de las cámaras tiene el zoom para poder ver lo que está haciendo.
Awesome. Okay, so since we have like different we have like intermediate students, we have advanced and like beginner students. So I don't want to go too far because I don't want to just talk to a very like little audience. Okay, so I'm gonna start with something that everyone knows, which is the pentatonic scale. And with the pentatonic scale, many people don't know. I mean, most people don't know, but you can get like simple sounds and very complex sounds. So it's a scale that everybody knows, and we can get the most out of it regardless of your level. So whether you are beginner or intermediate or advanced, you can do a lot with very little. So you can do too much with the pentatonic scale with only 5 notes. So we're gonna be diving deep into the pentatonic scale for now.
Bueno, ya que tenemos distintos niveles de estudiantes, él siente que no quiere hablar a un grupo muy limitado de alumnos al hablar de algo muy avanzado, sino que quiere hablar a la mayoría de los estudiantes con un lenguaje más o menos común. Entonces va a comenzar hablando de algo que todos deberíamos conocer, que es la escala pentatónica. Podemos identificar sonidos muy básicos y sonidos muy avanzados utilizando esta escala, y sin importar tu nivel como guitarrista, puedes hacer mucho sabiendo muy poquito.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Okay, so pentatonic scale, 5 notes. Okay, and we have the major and minor scales. Okay, and so let's do it in A. Okay, so A minor and A major pentatonic scales.
Bueno, vamos a comenzar con lo básico. Como todos sabemos, en la pentatónica tenemos 5 notas y tenemos la mayor y la menor. Entonces comencemos a trabajar en esta escala con la escala de La.
Okay, so one very important aspect here, guys, is you really want to know about the intervals, okay? Like people neglect the intervals, and I'm serious about it. So whether it's like a simple scale like the pentatonic scale or very complex stuff, when you master the intervals all across the neck, it makes your life so much easier, okay?
Bueno, una parte muy importante de esto es que realmente deben conocer los intervalos. La gente suele ser muy negligente con los intervalos y pueden hablar un lenguaje muy básico o muy avanzado, pero deben conocer sus intervalos.
Yeah, so if you don't know anything about intervals, I highly suggest you like reading like a book, like a theory book or something like that, because it's like you really need to know about that. You really need to know about the like intervals and how the scales are built and stuff like that. Okay.
Bueno, si no saben nada de intervalos, realmente les recomiendo y les insto que busquen un libro de teoría, ya que es algo que realmente deberían saber, cómo los intervalos construyen las escalas.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so the major pentatonic scale, okay, it goes like this in the key of A, all right? So I have the root, I have the major second, major third, fifth, and sixth, okay? Now, the minor pentatonic scale on the same key, right? So it's a different formula, okay? So it's the root, minor third, fourth, fifth, and minor seventh. Okay, so there's some difference between these two scales, all right? But if you know where all these intervals are across the neck, it's gonna make your life much easier and you're gonna rely less on shapes.
Bueno, acá ustedes pueden ver que dentro de la escala mayor y menor de la pentatónica de la, hay formas distintas. Tenemos la raíz, la tercera mayor, la cuarta, la quinta y la séptima. Entre la mayor y la menor hay pequeñas diferencias, pero una vez que conocen los intervalos, pueden depender más del intervalo entre la escala, más allá de la forma.
Awesome. So I don't want to play. I don't want to do shapes anymore. I want to play intervals. So every time, okay. So if I know the formula and I know the intervals all over the neck, it makes my life easier. And I'm gonna show you guys how I do it. So let's say that I'm the key of A, of course, and I know that this is the third. This is the major third. So everywhere on the neck that I'm playing, that I go like this, is gonna be a major third, okay? Everywhere on the neck. So that's gonna make my visualization all across the neck way easier than just playing shapes, okay? Playing shapes is important, okay? But it's not as important once once you pass like the beginner level, it's gonna, if you don't switch over to like interval playing, it's gonna hold you back, okay?
Bueno, ahí estaba tocando la tercera mayor, y en cada lugar del brazo en que iba tocando va a ser de esa misma forma, la raíz y la tercera mayor. Esa va a ser su visualización. Tocar la forma es importante, la forma de la escala me refiero, pero ya no es tan importante una vez que pasas ese nivel de principiante. Entonces tienes que comenzar a visualizar el mástil centrado en intervalos.
Yeah, so I have the major third, then I have the perfect fifth, the sixth, major seventh, second. So I'm actually looking at the bass note, at my root here, okay? And all the other intervals, I'm actually referring to that low bass note. So everywhere on the neck that I'm in, like let's say that I'm gonna change keys now. So let's say I'm in the key of C, okay? It's gonna be the same thing. So I don't have to play the low C note, of course. So, but I'm actually looking at it, okay? I'm looking at it, and I'm referring all the intervals to that low C note, to that low bass, right? So I have the major third, the fifth, the sixth, the root, and the major second. So it's all on my fingers and it's all on my eyes as well, okay? So it's very important. not only you have to play with your fingers, but also you have to visualize all the intervals with your eyes. Does that make sense?
Bueno, acá ustedes podían ver la relación de intervalos en base a la tónica, que todos los intervalos se relacionan a la tónica sin importar que cambias o no del tono, de la raíz. Va a seguir siendo lo mismo, ya que está mirando la raíz y luego se desplaza en base a tónicas. Luego tocó la tercera, la quinta, la segunda mayor, y no solo debes tocar con los dedos, sino que debes visualizar lo que estás tocando en base a los intervalos.
Awesome. Now, if I want to switch over to the minor pentatonic scale, I don't have to rely on shapes anymore. I only have to rely on the intervals. So let's say that I want to go, I want to go back to the minor pentatonic scale, which means that I want to go from the major third to the minor third. Okay, so major third to minor third. Just one half step down, right? So I don't have to okay, this is the minor pentatonic shape. No, I don't have to do that because I know all the intervals. So it's under my fingers, it's on the tip of my fingers and it's on my eye. So I can see it, okay? So less and less you're gonna be relying on shapes. And if you wanna pass that like beginner level, you really have to do this. You really have to master the intervals all across the neck. Okay.
Bueno, aquí si pasamos a la pentatónica menor, ya no debo depender tanto de la forma, sino que de los intervalos, lo que quiere decir que al pasar de la tercera mayor, paso a la tercera menor, y ya no es como, estoy tocando la forma, sino que debo mirar los intervalos que están ahí mismo, bajo mis dedos y frente a mis ojos. Entonces, estoy visualizando los intervalos, y así cada vez menos y menos voy a depender de la forma, y voy a depender más de los intervalos.
Awesome. So, major, so I'm gonna be switching back and forth between minor and major pentatonic, okay? So minor, so I was going, I was switching back and forth between minor and major pentatonic scale on the same key, but I wasn't playing the shapes, I was really I was pinpointing the intervals that I wanted to land in on the next scale. You know what I mean? So when I'm playing the major scale, so major pentatonic scale, and I want to land on the minor third of the minor pentatonic scale. So, and I know where the minor third is on the neck, okay? So whether I'm playing I know where the minor third is on the neck, and I know the sound of it, okay?
Bueno, ahí estuvo cambiando entre la mayor y la menor pentatónica una y otra vez, y cambiando dentro de la misma tónica, digamos. Pero no estaba tocando la forma, sino que estaba apuntando los intervalos de la escala siguiente que quería ocupar. Por ejemplo, él buscó caer en la tercera menor de la siguiente escala, entonces la visualizó antes de aterrizar en ella, y ya conoce el sonido, entonces sabe hacia dónde está viajando.
Nice. And then once you master it, you can actually mix these two pentatonics together. So you can mix, both major and minor pentatonic scale. And that's going to give you a very bluesy kind of sound. And you can also, you can go to the extreme. And so I see that Dario, is that right? He's saying SRV does that a lot. Yeah. So all the great blues players, they're mastering that. Okay. So they're not really playing shapes. They know their intervals. Okay. So if you really want to be a master on the guitar, you don't want to rely too much on shapes, because otherwise you're playing, it's gonna sound way too technical, and it's not gonna touch other people.
Bueno, una vez que lo dominas, puedes mezclar ambas pentatónicas, la mayor y la menor, lo que te dará un sonido bien mezclado y que apunta mucho al blues. Ahí hizo el comentario y la referencia que hizo Darío respecto de Stevie Ray Vaughan. Los grandes músicos de blues, ellos conocen los intervalos, porque si no, al tocar la forma, te va a dar un sonido muy técnico, no tan fluido. Entonces, ya no dependes tanto de la forma, sino que dependes de los intervalos.
Yeah, so now I can actually mix these two scales together into just like one scale. All right, so we're gonna have the root, okay, the root, the major second, the minor third, the major third, the fourth, the fifth, the major sixth, and the minor seventh. Okay, so we're gonna actually combine these two scales together, and we're gonna make it one scale.
Bueno, ahora vamos a mezclar ambas escalas, ambas formas, teniendo la raíz, la segunda, la tercera, la cuarta, la quinta, la sexta mayor, la séptima menor. Vamos a mezclar ambas escalas para dar una sonoridad distinta. And André, there's a comment here that says that what you're going to do is something like Dorian-like?
No.
Bueno,
No,
Víctor
you
dice
do
que
have the major third. No, it's not. It's not Dorian.
no. Tienes la tercera mayor, Víctor, entonces no va a ser Dorian. He says, right, thanks.
No, it's not. It's not. It's really. I mean, you can play like over like A blues. You can play A Dorian because it's a minor scale. But that's not what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so I'm trying to mix both pentatonic scales together into one. I don't see it as Dorian. I see it as pentatonic scale. Okay.
Ok. Bueno, dice que acá puedes tocar Dorio sobre una base de blues, pero no es lo que él va a hacer acá, sino que él acá va a mezclar la escala mayor y menor pentatónica.
Yeah, so you're gonna come up with this very interesting sound. So I know where like so I'm playing both scales together now. Okay, so okay, so even without like any backing track, you can hear that it's an A. All right, but I'm not playing. So it's both pentatonic scales glued together, and so you can see the power of the pentatonic. So you can go from the very beginning of like playing the blues and whatnot. Very simple, right? Everyone can like play the blues, and you can go from there. And then we can actually proceed from that, and we can go way further than that, and we can actually get like very complex sounds, okay, with the pentatonic scale. And I'm gonna show you guys how I do it.
Bueno, van a tener ese sonido bien interesante que él acaba de tocar, simplemente pegando o mezclando ambas escalas juntas. Incluso sobre cualquier backing track puedes identificar que está tocando sobre una escala de La. ¿Sabes? Ambas pentatónicas es lo que pegó ahí juntos. Se siente el poder de la pentatónica. Puedes comenzar tocando algo de blues muy sencillo, partir desde ahí, que es algo que todos podemos hacer, y llegar a algo mucho más complejo, mucho más lejano.
Yeah, so you can just use like one scale, you can use the other scale, so you can use like only like major pentatonic scale, you can only use the minor pentatonic, you can use both, or you can use both mixed, okay? And so it's only one scale, guys. It's only pentatonic scale here, right? So, the more you actually study music and you study like guitar and whatnot, like, the more you see, the more you actually realize that it's not what you play, right? It's how you play it, right? Because we're only using one scale here. But hear how it sounds. Hear how it sounds interesting. right? And it's gonna be, it's gonna become way more interesting now because we're gonna be dealing with a lot of like outside playing and whatnot, a lot of like chromatic passing notes, only using the pentatonic scale.
Bueno, puedes usar una sola escala, puedes usar la otra, o puedes mezclar ambas. De hecho, mientras más estudias música, te vas a ir dando cuenta en el camino que no se trata de lo que tocas, sino de cómo lo tocas. Porque acá solamente estás usando solo una escala, pero ahora va a ser mucho más interesante, ya que dentro de esta escala vas identificando los cromatismos y vas avanzando en tu forma de tocar.
Awesome. Okay, now, okay, once we go past that level of playing like both scales together, we can actually implement one passing. So we can start implementing passing notes here. And the first passing note that we have, and we all know, is the sharp 4, right? Which, in the key of A, it would be D sharp. So we can add that note to what we have.
Bueno, ahora que pasamos a ese nivel de tocar ambas escalas juntas, podemos identificar las notas de paso. Y la primera nota de paso sería la sharp cuarta, que en la escala de la sería la de re.
Yeah, so, we can have like everything that we've done so far. But then we can actually add that note. So we're gonna have, we can like come up with this weird scale. But we're not gonna play it. We're not gonna play like that, okay? Because again, it's not what you play; it's how you play it. So we're gonna be like, we're not gonna play like all those notes in a row. We're gonna be like playing all those notes using a lot of jumps in between them, okay? So right, we're gonna play it like that. So I want you guys to like see, like really see the scale all over the neck, almost, as if it was an arpeggio, right? So I don't want you guys to play it like that. It's gonna sound bad. I don't want you guys to sound bad. Okay, so I want you guys to implement a lot of jumps in between the notes. Kind of a intervallic approach, okay?
Bueno, dice que no vamos a tocar todas las notas de corrido, sino que tocaremos las notas con saltos entre ellas. Quiero que vea la escala en todo el neck, casi como si fuera un arpegio. No quiero que la toquen, ya dio el ejemplo tocando la forma, ya que va a sonar mal. Quiero que integre muchos saltos entre las notas.
Yeah, so you can come up with. Okay, so I'm playing the root, sharp 4, bending up to the 5th, going back to the sharp 4, and root again. But then I can actually bend from the 5th and I can reach the 6th. And I can bend like 1.5 step and go to the minor 7th, right? Right? And you can come up with like these very weird sound. It's not weird. It's very like interesting, and it sounds more like modern. Okay, so like you can play like the root, the 4th, the sharp 4, the minor 7th, the root, the minor 3rd, the sharp 4, the 6th. And then the minor 7th again. right? And you can come up with these very interesting ideas only by adding that, that sharp 4 to the mix, okay?
Bueno, pueden hacer algo como lo que está tocando, en que partió de la raíz, la quinta sostenida, puede hacer bendings desde la cuarta e incluso poder llegar a la sexta, hasta la séptima menor. Pueden hacer cosas mucho más interesantes, lo que le va a dar un sonido mucho más moderno a su forma de tocar. Luego volvió a la tónica para tocar la cuarta sostenida, la cuarta menor, la séptima, la sexta, y luego volver a la séptima menor. Todo esto buscando una sonoridad un poco más moderna.
Yeah, so you can come up with these very interesting ideas. Right, so I'm playing minor third, minor seventh, fifth, root, okay? And then, I'm sorry, so it's minor third, 6, 5, root, and then minor 7. 4th, 3rd, okay? So as you guys can tell, I'm not really caring about shapes anymore. I only care about the intervals, right? So, and then, so then it's root, sharp 4, 4, minor 7th, sharp 4 again, minor 3rd, root, and root again. So, and you might ask me, what the hell is that? It's just a pentatonic scale, right?
Bueno, pueden hacer cosas interesantes como el ejemplo que él recién estaba tocando, en el cual simplemente trabajó por intervalos. No sé si se dieron cuenta que no tocó ninguna parte de la forma clásica de la pentatónica. Ahí viajó entre la tercera menor, la sexta, la quinta, volvió a la tónica, la séptima menor. Entonces pueden ver que no está realmente preocupado de la forma, sino que de los intervalos. Y en algún punto se pueden preguntar así como, ¿qué diablos es lo que está tocando? Es simplemente la pentatónica, nada más que eso.
Yeah, awesome. Now, next step, okay, is to actually apply chromatic passing notes, like a lot of chromatic passing notes. Okay, so that's gonna sound more fusion, okay?
Bueno, el siguiente paso es aplicar estas notas cromáticas de paso, y eso le va a dar una sonoridad mucho más de un sonido fusión.
Okay, so now let's focus on A minor pentatonic scale, okay? And I'm gonna be using this pattern. So I'm playing the minor 3rd, the root, the minor 7th, the 5th, the 4th, and the minor 3rd. I think everybody knows that pattern, right? And I'm gonna be filling in the gaps. Okay, so I'm not gonna go from C to A like that. I want to fill in the gaps between these two notes, okay? By adding, passing notes, okay?
Bueno, creo que todos conocemos el patrón que acaba de tocar, siguiendo la pentatónica menor de la. Creo que todos conocemos el patrón que acaba de tocar de nuevo, pero ahora va a ir rellenando los espacios. No es que va a ir como de do a la rápidamente, sino que va a rellenar el espacio.
All right, so the most basic we can do here is go all the way down, all chromatic, right? So from point A to point B, I can go all the way down chromatically, okay? Does that sound right? I mean, does that sound good? Not so much, right? Doesn't sound that great. But I can actually add one extra note before landing into A. Okay, so I'm gonna add G sharp. So, or I can actually hit that note on the B string. Okay, so. Now it's starting to sound a little better. All right?
Bueno, lo más básico que podemos hacer es un cromático completo desde el punto A al punto B. y ustedes notaron que al comienzo no sonaba tan bien, no suena genial, pero puede agregar una nota extra antes de caer en la, y ese en este caso será el sol sostenido, que puede tocarlo en la misma cuerda o en la cuerda de si, y ahora está comenzando a sonar un poco mejor.
Awesome. And then we can go from A. Okay, so now A is my point A, right? And I want to go to E. So A is my point A now, and E is my point B, okay? So I'm going to be, filling in the gaps between these 2 points, between these 2 notes, okay? And we're going to add again, like chromatic passing notes, okay? So I could do that again. It doesn't sound good, okay? And Andre, why it doesn't sound good? Because you're playing all the notes in a row. When you do that, it's hard to make it sound good, okay? So that's why. Okay, so that's why you wanna play around with the notes. You don't wanna play them in a row. Okay, like it's gonna give you this very linear sounding thing. Okay, and you don't want that. When we hear like modern guitar players, they don't play linear anymore. You know, they like to mess around with the notes, so they work a lot with intervals. Okay, so you guys are getting right. So you don't want to play stuff like that anymore. It just doesn't sound good.
Bueno, lo que podemos hacer para tomar un punto A, que va a ser la, pensando en caer en el punto B, que es mi, es ir rellenando los espacios entre ambas notas, agregando las notas cromáticas de paso. Podría hacer esto lineal, en que tocó todas las notas y nos suena bien. Pero le pueden preguntar, André, ¿por qué no suena bien? Porque esto es porque estás tocando todas las notas en línea. Cuando se hace eso, es muy difícil que esto suene bien. Te va a dar este sonido lineal al que se refiere tanto. Y cuando escuchas a muchos guitarristas modernos, a ellos les gusta jugar con las notas, comprendiendo los intervalos y las notas de paso. ¿Ok? ¿Van entendiendo eso? Eso es lo que va dando la sonoridad.
Yeah, awesome. So now we can actually apply the same pattern here. So instead of I'm playing, it sounds way better, right? It sounds way better when you play around with the intervals. And then from this point on, since you don't want to overplay using like chromatic passing notes, so you want to do it for a while, and then you want to go back to a more like scaly kind of playing. Okay, so you want to do chromatic passing notes for a few bars, and then you want to go back to the scale, right? Because otherwise it's gonna sound too predictable. So that's what I'm gonna do here. So after that point, I'm going down, with the pentatonic scale. So So you see, like I'm always mixing up. I'm always mixing, like chromatic passing notes lines with the scale lines.
Bueno, ahora podemos tocar el mismo patrón acá, que fue lo que tocó al comienzo, para, en vez de tocar, por ejemplo, las notas de corrido, ir haciendo saltos entre los cromatismos. Suena mucho mejor cuando juegas con estos intervalos. Desde ese punto en adelante no quieres abusar de los cromatismos, en términos de que vas a hacer tu forma de tocar y tu sonido muy predecible. Tienes que utilizar los cromatismos por algunos momentos para luego volver a la escala. Vean cómo va jugando y mezclando con las escalas, pero sin abusar de los cromatismos. Los utilizas por un par de compases, pero luego vuelves a la escala.
Yeah, and once you master that, when once you're like, okay, I'm gonna play like a few chromatic bars, like I'm gonna play like 2 bars of like chromatic playing, or even like one, okay, and then for the next bar, I'm gonna go back to scale. When you do that, you balance things out. And then the listener ears, it doesn't get too tired. So so you don't sound predictable. Okay, so that's really important, guys. When you're phrasing, you don't want to sound too predictable. Okay, you can play lines that are often played. That's fine, but you want to sound interesting, and that's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen like guitar players make. They sound too predictable. Every time playing the same lines, they don't change anything. They don't change any notes. They don't add notes. They don't subtract notes. They don't change rhythm. They don't do anything. They just play the same lines over and over, and that's gonna give your listener is gonna be tired after a while, after the second song, right?
Bueno, una vez que domina eso, dice, ok, voy a tocar algunos compases de cromatismos y luego volveré a la escala. Ya que así los oídos del oyente tampoco se van a aburrir al sonar tú demasiado predecible. Puedes tocar líneas que son tocadas a menudo y eso está bien, pero quieres sonar interesante, recuerda eso. Y ese es uno de los mayores errores que yo percibo en los guitarristas. Suenan demasiado predecibles, no cambian nada, no suman ni restan notas, tocan siempre los mismos licks en el fondo y tocan las mismas líneas una y otra vez, sin ponerse en el lugar del oyente que se va a aburrir de escuchar lo mismo a cada rato.
Okay, now if you really want to take it to the extreme, okay, you can do something that is called sidestepping. Okay, so what is sidestepping, Andre? Okay, so once you have your main key, okay, so let's say that we're in a key of A, okay, so A minor pentatonic scale. So we can mess around with like either G sharp minor or A sharp minor. Okay, so let's say that A is our main key. Okay, so A is our main key. So we can actually play around that key, okay, using G sharp, which is 1/2 step down, or A sharp, which is 1/2 step up. Okay, and that's gonna give you a very interesting sound. Sometimes it's gonna sound like it's outside. Like when like people ask me like, André, so how can I sound outside? What's the secret to sounding outside? And then I go, okay, so just play the pentatonic scale, like 1/2 step up or down, and people don't get it. But I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna prove you guys right now that it's even possible, that it's very possible.
Bueno, ahora realmente si quieren llevarlo al extremo, pueden hacer algo que se llama sidestepping. Lo voy a escribir en el chat de repente si alguien no lo conoce, un concepto que yo no conocía. Y dice que en vez de tocar la forma de la escala pentatónica menor de la, ahí Mati lo escribió, sidestep. Entonces, puedes tocar la pentatónica menor de la y bajar medio tono y tocar la pentatónica menor de sol sostenido o subir medio tono. Dicen, oye, puede sonar como un poco como fuera de escala, pero es algo súper posible y realizable. Y es un ejemplo que nos va a mostrar ahora André.
Awesome. Okay, so let's say that we're in a key of A, right? So A is my main key. And for this specific lick, I'm gonna be playing. I'm gonna be using the classic shape, which is this one, right? Which is the scale shape that everybody knows. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna be adding. So first of all, you can just like mess around with it. So you can go like. Okay, so you can like mess around, but you can actually come up with licks, lines using patterns, okay? And when I say patterns, so it can be like a 4-note pattern, it can be a 5-note pattern, and it can also be like a 7-note pattern. And I'm gonna show all these three patterns for you guys right now. You wanna translate?
Sí, genial. Ahora, Patrick, estaba esperando. I was waiting for you to play it. Entonces, genial. Ahora tienes la pentatónica de La. Y para este lick específico, para este ejemplo, él va a mostrar la forma clásica que todos conocemos dentro de la escala y puedes jugar con ella, como lo acaba de demostrar, pero puedes crear licks generando patrones de 4 o 5 notas, e incluso 7, y les va a mostrar estos patrones ahora de ir haciendo este sidestep.
All right, so let's start with the 4-note pattern, okay, guys, and then afterwards, okay, I'm gonna be playing over like backing tracks. I'm gonna be playing a song, okay. So I just want to show you guys what my thoughts are, okay. So the first pattern is a 4-note pattern, okay. So I'm gonna be playing. I'm sorry. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's root 5th, 4th, minor 7th, okay? Awesome. And you can actually go like up using only one shape, and you can go, in a key of A, so you can go. But now we're gonna be switching back and forth, okay? A and A sharp, okay? So I'm gonna be playing one time A, and then the next the next string pattern, okay? I'm gonna be switching over to A sharp, and then I'm gonna go back to A, and then A sharp, and so on, okay? So this is how it's gonna sound like, okay? So A sharp, A sharp. Okay, so you're like, what the heck? Like, what the heck is going on? Is that from a scale? Where does it come from? It comes from just a minor pentatonic scale. Isn't that curious? So again, it's not what you play, it's how you play it, right? So now I'm switching back and forth, A and A sharp. But I can do the same. Am I talking too long?
Yeah, I have it all like relaxed.
Okay, you can. You can go.
Ok, acá él tocó la raíz, la quinta, la cuarta y la séptima menor. Y puedes ir hacia arriba y abajo utilizando una forma, subiendo por las cuerdas o avanzando en el mástil. Ahí vieron que tocó el La y luego subió a la forma de La sostenido, menor siempre. Y cuando y luego fue avanzando así sucesivamente. Cuando lo escuchas dices como, ¿qué crees que está pasando? ¿Viene de una escala? ¿De dónde viene? Y finalmente viene de la pentatónica y vuelve a lo que dijo hace un rato. No es lo que tocas, sino que es cómo lo tocas, en el fondo.
Okay, now we're gonna do A and G sharp. Okay, so it's the same. Yeah.
Sorry, ahora vamos a ver La y Sol sostenido.
Yeah, so it's the same pattern. It's the same thing. Okay, but the difference here is that instead of going up, we're gonna be down. Okay, we're gonna be going down. Mm-hmm. So this is how it's gonna roll. Okay, so A, G sharp, A, and G sharp. Okay, so again, A, G sharp, A, G sharp. Holy shit, it sounds amazing, right? And it sounds outside, it sounds interesting. Doesn't sound like it's pentatonic scale, but it is, right? And there's even more to it. Okay, so
bueno, ahora vamos a ver el mismo patrón, la misma cosa, pero en vez de subir un tono, vamos a bajar medio tono, perdón, a la pentatónica de sol sostenido. En ese sentido, él tocó la, sol sostenido, la, sol sostenido. Es como, qué mierda, pero suena increíble. No suena a nada como la pentatónica, pero es la pentatónica.
Yes, awesome. Now we can actually mix these two patterns, these two patterns together. So we can do like A, G sharp, A sharp, go back to A, so we can mix them together. So it's gonna sound something like this. So I'm gonna play A. I'm sorry. A sharp, A, and G sharp. All right, so. And you see how my hands flow, It looks like a different scale. It looks like something else. But when you break it down and you realize it's only pentatonic, you're like, holy shit, man. I've been wasting all my life trying to figure it out, like very complex and exotic scales to play and sound outside where, it was under my fingers. It was, pentatonic scale. So that's why I was showing you guys from the total beginning, okay? Like very simple to very complex, like very interesting and very like modern sounding, licks, okay?
Bueno, ahí ahora lo que va a hacer es ir mezclando los patrones entre la sostenido y sol sostenido. Y no sé si ustedes se pudieron notar cómo las manos de André fluían. Se ve como una escala distinta, pero cuando lo analizas es como, loco, es solo la pentatónica. Y ahí es donde este chico se preguntaba, estuve perdiendo mi vida buscando entender sonidos más exóticos, escalas más modernas, nuevas escalas, cuando al final del tiempo estuvo todo ahí abajo de tus dedos. Lo fue mostrando desde lo más básico a lo más complejo. And André, I just saw, I don't know if it was like a question or a comment, but I think it would be very nice for you to show it within context.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, I just
you're on your
go
way.
over two patterns. Yeah, two more patterns, and then I'm gonna play over the backing tracks, because not only you can improvise using this system, but you can also come up with songs. And I do have a song. I do have a song that I came up with that system. So I'm gonna show it to you guys, and then I'm gonna explain. Okay.
Ok, por ahí le comenté que alcancé a leer un comentario muy rápido que decía si podemos mostrar esto dentro de un contexto. Y André dijo que, oye, voy a mostrar dos patrones más, luego voy a improvisar sobre backing tracks y luego les voy a mostrar una canción que creé exclusivamente con este sistema.
All right, so the next pattern is a 5-note pattern, okay? So instead of using 4 notes, we're gonna go and play 5, okay? So this is the pattern, guys. I'm playing C, E, G, A, and D, okay? All right, it's a 5-note pattern. I use it a lot. And I also, after this pattern, I'm going to show you guys another pattern, which is a 7-note pattern, okay?
Bueno, ahora voy a utilizar un patrón de 5 notas que va de do, mi, sol, la y re. Es un patrón que utilizo mucho y posteriormente le mostraré un ejercicio con un patrón con 7 notas.
Yeah, and when you play it over a click, hang on. Sorry, hang on. So. sounds very interesting. Now we can actually go down in the same key. So right, so that's gonna sound like this. And then you might ask me, holy shit, man, is that pentatonic? Yeah. It's only it's only A minor pentatonic scale. But now, okay, so let's play it along with the click first. So this is only A minor, okay, guys? So now let's do it in 16th notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. You can also play it in 3 notes per beat, which is 8-note triplet. So which is gonna be like yeah, it sounds very interesting again. And now, I'm sorry, buddy.
Bueno, ahora cuando lo tocas sobre un click...
Sometimes I kind of forget that you need to.
Yeah, no worries.
Translate. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I just get too excited.
It's okay, man. Dice que cuando lo tocas sobre un click suena muy interesante y ahora pudo incluso bajar dentro de la misma escala. Y puedes preguntarme de nuevo, o sea, como, André, ¿qué estás tocando? ¿Qué mierda es eso? Y sigue siendo la pentatónica menor de La. Pueden tocarlo en cuartinas, en corcheas, y va a seguir sonando igual de interesante.
Awesome. Now let's apply sidestepping, okay? Okay, same thing, guys. Same thing. So... slow, it sounds like shit, but when you speed it up, it sounds better. So, right? Right? Yeah, it sounds killer. Now 16th notes. Okay, it sounds very modern, very fusion-like. Okay, and then you can go and do A and G sharp. Okay, so it's the same thing. So it's very tricky, okay? It's very tricky because your fingers are used to play in only one key, pentatonic-wise. Okay, so you know your fingers are used to be playing, which is great. But when you have to play it like 1/2 step down, it's kind of tricky and it's gonna trick your brain. You're gonna feel lost. I'm pretty sure you're gonna feel like, holy shit, man! I just can't play it. It's only 1/2 step down and only 1/2 step up, and I'm feeling lost. That's because you haven't practiced this before, and I can assure you that you're gonna feel lost for a little bit.
Bueno, apliquemos esto a sidestepping. Lento suena como la mierda, dice, pero cuando va aumentando la velocidad suena brutal. Puedes tocarlo en cuartinas y va a sonar muy a lo fusión. Y ahí puedes ir jugando entre la y sol sostenido en este caso, y es un sonido muy intricado. Y esto también se debe a que tus dedos están acostumbrados a tocar la escala pentatónica de cierta forma. La memoria de tus músculos trabaja en ese sentido. Pero lo que está bien, pero cuando tienes que tocarlo medio tono más bajo, medio tono más arriba, es complejo, te vas a complicar. Solo medio tono va a hacer que tu cerebro se sienta perdido. André, also there's a guy who raised his hand, Maxi Lowe's. I don't know if he has a question. Would you prefer for him to speak right now, or would you?
Yeah, I still have one pattern.
Cool.
Okay. Now let's go with the 7-note pattern. Okay. So this is how it's gonna sound like. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So against 4. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Bueno, ahí fue lo que tocó en el patrón de 7 notas. Bueno, fueron 7 notas contra 4 tiempos. Sigue siendo una pentatónica menor de la, pero sonó brutal.
Let's name it the holy shit lick.
Yeah, this is the holy shit lick. Yeah, this is.
Let's check and play this.
This is it. Yeah. And now, okay, you might ask me like, okay, so how are you playing it? Do you have a specific technique and whatnot? So there's a few ways you can play it, like technique wise. Okay. And I think it's important. It's really important to point that out too, because you can have like different sounds depending on which technique you're applying to it. And I'm gonna show you guys. You can go. You can.
Okay. Bueno, le pueden preguntar a él cómo tocas lo que acaba de tocar, si hay alguna técnica específica, y hay algunas formas en las que los puedes abordar específicamente desde la técnica para alcanzar distintos sonidos. Y a continuación nos va a dar ejemplos de eso.
Yeah. So if you really want to sound modern, I wouldn't suggest. Okay, so I would not suggest you alternate play it like as a like. You don't want to alternate play all the notes. You don't want to alternate pick all the notes. Okay, because otherwise it's gonna give you this very picky kind of attacky sound, and that's not what we're going for here. We're going for this very like smooth kind of sound. Okay, so don't alternate pick all the notes.
Bueno, si quieres sonar muy moderno, realmente no recomendaría que toques alternado, por lo menos no todas las notas, porque te va a dar este sonido como con mucho ñeteo, como con mucho ataque, y acá estamos apuntando a alcanzar un sonido más fluido.
Yeah, it's gonna sound like it's gonna lose that smoothness. Okay, so what I suggest here, if you wanna go with a pick, okay, you want to apply a lot of pull-offs. Okay, so right. So every time you have the chance, there's a. Can you guys hear the dog barking? Yeah, dude, this dog. I don't know what's happening to him. This dog, like, he can't stop, man. He can't stop. I mean, I think he wants to be with us, but he's not. So he's feeling isolated. I don't know. Okay, so let's go back to the lesson.
He's a cool dog. He loves rock. Cherish him.
And okay, so every time you have the chance, go with pull-offs. Okay, so So that's gonna, give you this smoother kind of tone. So, which is way better than. Okay, right? I mean, if you were to play in like a heavy metal band, maybe you want to alternate pick all the notes. If not, just go with pull-offs. Okay, so way smoother, right? You want to go?
Bueno, si quieres sonar utilizando el tema del uñeteo alterno, dale, puedes hacerlo, pero va a perder toda la suavidad, la fluidez en el sonido. Y lo que recomiendo realmente es hacer muchos pull-offs cada vez que tengas la chance. Tratar de tocar con muchos pull-offs es lo que te va a dar este sonido o vibra de fluidez. Si quieres tocar heavy metal o algún sonido o algún género de ese estilo, dale, uñetea todo, pero no es la finalidad de esta técnica. También hizo referencia al perro que estaba ladrando como loco, pedía las disculpas del caso, no sabía qué le pasaba al perro.
Awesome. Now, if you want to have a more kind of a snappier kind of tone, you want to do hybrid picking, okay? And when I say hybrid picking, it's pick and fingers, okay? So you want to use your middle finger to hit a few strings. So that's going to give you a more snappier sound, okay? And I'm going to show you. So you guys can hear it like snaps, right? Right. So it snaps more. So the strings give you this more kind of like a brighter sound.
Bueno, si quieres hacer hybrid picking, es la técnica en la que usas la uñeta y los dedos. Y te da este sonido con mucho más snap, como más hondero, con más brillo.
Yeah, cool. Now, if you really want to make it smooth, I mean, the smoothest of all, you want to go finger picking, okay? So you want to do the magic pick trick, okay? Which, you hold the pick with your pinky, just like that, so that you can, so that you leave all the other 4 fingers free, okay? And you can use your fingers now. So that's gonna give you the smoothest sound of all right? So either if you're playing with the bridge pickup or neck pickup, it's gonna give you a very smooth sound. So it's very smooth. It's way different than you like alternate picking everything. See how it sounds different? It's a whole world of difference.
Bueno, también puedes hacer finger picking, que es lo que realmente te va a dar el sonido más fluido que puedes encontrar y el sonido mucho más suave, sin importar la cápsula que decidas ocupar, la del neck, la del puente. Este sonido, al tocar simplemente con los dedos, es un mundo de diferencia al usar la uñeta.
Awesome. So I love the 7-note pattern. I love it. And you actually can use it in many ways, okay? But before that, and before we go to the next subject, okay? I'm gonna show you guys a song that I came up with using the sidestepping system with the pentatonic scale, okay? Is that right?
Bueno, él dice que ama el patrón de 7 notas, que realmente lo ama y puede utilizarlo de muchas formas. Pero antes de ir al siguiente tema a tratar, les va a mostrar un tema que creó con la escala pentatónica solamente y el sidestepping. Recuerden, chicos, que lo que vamos a escuchar es solo pentatónica.
Yeah. Let's see if I can remember the song. All right, so that's the main theme, okay? I'm gonna play it again for you. Awesome. Okay, so that song was composed using one pentatonic scale. Doesn't that sound ridiculous? It's ridiculous. Like nobody would believe. Nobody would believe if I said like, okay, so this is based off a G minor 7 pentatonic scale, right? So again, it's not what you play, it's how you play it, right?
Bueno, esa canción fue escrita utilizando solo la pentatónica. Suena como ridículo. Él cree que nadie pensaría que esto fue escrito pensando en una escala pentatónica. Y nuevamente, no es lo que tocas, es cómo lo tocas.
Okay, I'm gonna go over like very briefly. Okay, I'm gonna go over some of the parts of that song. Okay, so you guys can really understand what I'm talking about. But it's all based off sidestepping. Okay, so it's all based like it's 100% based off sidestepping using G minor 7 pentatonic scale. Okay, so the first part, okay, I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna play it again, only the first part, and then I'm gonna explain it. So do we have like a time limit, or we can go as long as we want?
Go as far as you want.
Awesome. Okay, so that riff, okay, so let's go over that riff. So, G minor 7th, okay, G minor 7 pentatonic scale. I think you guys heard where I actually applied sidestepping, right? So, right, so right there, I was, I went up and played G sharp minor pentatonic scale, and then I went back. So every time, okay, so every time you go up or down, it's gonna create tension, okay? It's gonna be very tense. So it's almost as if you were like you're playing a dominant 7th scale, So like it's like sometimes I see it as a kind of an altered scale. It doesn't sound the same, but to my ears I see it like that because it's very tense. It's gonna give you this very dissonant sound. So it's very important. Okay, so it's imperative for you to know where the time to land in back is right, because otherwise it's gonna sound too tense. It's gonna sound awkward. So it's like tension, release, tension, release, tension, release. Okay, and where every time you want to have this tense sound, you're gonna play either like one half step up or down.
Bueno, ahí estaba analizando el riff que acaba de tocar, que estaba en la escala de sol séptimo menor pentatónico. Creo que ustedes escucharon y pudieron identificar dónde aplicaba este sidestepping. En ese caso, él tocó, subió medio tono y luego volvió. Y cada vez que haces esto, generas tensión, casi como si estuvieras tocando la escala dominante o una escala alterada. No suena igual, es evidente, pero da esta sensación de tensión. Entonces, porque tiene muchos sonidos disonantes. Es por esto que es imperativo que controlen el nivel de tensión para que no suene raro, que están tocando alguna locura y nada más. Entonces es como tensión, volver, tensión, volver.
Yeah, this is the idea, guys. Okay, so you don't wanna go too far. Okay, you wanna think of tension release, tension release. Now for the next part, okay, the next part, it's kind of a line. Now, okay, so let's go. Okay, so let's break down that line.
Bueno, esa es la idea, chicos. No quieren ir muy lejos. Piensen en tensión, volver, tensión, volver. Y ahora van a analizar esta parte que es como una línea, ¿ok? Ahora lo vamos a analizar. Atención.
Okay, so this is how it is. So G minor 7th, right? And then G sharp minor. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. It's a 7-note pattern, right? Right? It sounds great. And then G minor 7th, okay? So I'm playing the minor 3rd, right? The 4th, and the minor 7th. And then I'm playing the same thing, but one half step up. G sharp minor, so. Right, so. Oh, sorry. Right? Everybody cool? Everybody cool so far? Yeah?
Bueno, acá él tocó, como ustedes pudieron ver, la escala de sol menor séptimo y luego subía al sostenido. Es un patrón de 7 notas y suena genial. Luego volvía al sol menor séptimo, tenía la tercera menor, la cuarta, la séptima menor, y luego estaba tocando la misma cosa pero medio tono más arriba. Luego dice si está todo claro.
Awesome. Now, for the next part, I have this line. Which is all G minor 7th pentatonic, okay? So, 4th, minor 7th, root, 4th, 5th, minor 3rd, and minor 7th. So, remember when I was talking about like not playing the all the notes in a row, kind of thinking about the scale as almost as if it is an arpeggio? That's what I'm doing here, right? I'm not playing linear, even though it's just like pentatonic scale. I'm applying a lot of jumps in between the notes. That's why it's gonna give you this very like modern and complex sound. It sounds like an arpeggio, right?
Bueno, acá tiene esta línea que está en sol menor séptimo, en esa escala, y recuerdan cuando les hablaba de no tocar todo en línea, es lo mismo que está haciendo acá, empezar en la escala como si fuera un arpegio casi. Está aplicando muchos saltos entre cuerdas y entre las notas, y eso le da este sonido tan moderno.
Awesome. And then after that part, I'm gonna go up 1/2 step to G sharp minor, okay? So it's 5th, minor, minor 3rd, minor 7th, and 5th. Okay? And then I'm gonna go back to G minor. So, and then for the very last note of that sequence, I'm gonna play G sharp. Okay, so. Go back to the riff. And then last part and etc. etc. I don't want to like go over everything because otherwise we'll be staying here for forever. But so that's it. It's just G minor pentatonic scale, right? It's just G minor subpentatonic scale. It's crazy.
Bueno, lo que él fue trabajando y tocando fue básicamente cómo subía y bajaba entre esta escala de sol menor séptimo y la sostenida. Fue todo lo que hizo en este rato. Luego volví al riff y él siente que no quiere trabajar cada parte de la canción porque si no vamos a estar acá por siempre, vamos a estar estancados mucho rato. Pero todo lo que él hizo fue la escala de sol menor pentatónico.
Awesome. Okay, so I think I've talked too much. Okay, so let's go to the Q&A sessions. Okay, so I want to hear you guys. I think one of the guys already raised his hand. I don't know, like way earlier.
I was. Yeah, you kind of already answered the question because I wanted to ask you about the hybrid picking.
Okay.
Awesome. Especially cool. on the 5-note pattern.
Okay, so is it already answered?
I mean, I was going to ask you if you used hybrid picking. Now I know you do, but how you do it?
Just like I'm not a hybrid pick guy. I can do only a few things. Okay, but most of the time I'm switching. So I'm playing with the pick and with the middle finger. So this is hybrid picking. Okay, now I'm a finger picking guy. I play a lot of finger picking. Okay, which is different than hybrid picking. Okay, finger picking is one technique. Okay, now like hybrid picking is a different technique. So hybrid picking is when you use the pick and fingers together. Okay, so it's pick. Let me change cameras. So it's pick. Okay, pick and fingers. Okay. Now, what I do is finger picking and apply the magic pick trick. Okay, so I kind of slide it down to the pinky, and I have all these four fingers free available. So this is finger picking, dude. So this is not hybrid picking. Okay, many people they actually confuse these two techniques, and they think what I do is hybrid picking, which is not. Hybrid picking is a different thing. All right. So what I do the most is finger picking, which I usually refer to it as magic picking. because I'm kind of switching back and forth between pick and fingers. So it's so finger picking guys, they only use finger picking, but not me. Like I'm actually switching back and forth. Okay, so I'm kind of considering like naming this kind of a new technique, called like magic picking. Okay, so magic picking is when you play with the pick or fingers. Okay, so it's different than hybrid picking. Hybrid picking is pick and fingers. Magic picking is pick or fingers. Okay, it's a very subtle but very it's a big difference.
Bueno, acá
Understand.
Max,
No, pero
Max,
dale tú, que igual hay que traducir la pregunta, así que habla nomás.
dale, si puedes traducir la pregunta al mismo
Sí.
tiempo de preguntarla sería bacán. Pero la pregunta a la que apuntaba Maxi era respecto del uso de hybrid picking, pero André durante la charla ya había hecho referencia a esto. André dice que no es un tipo que hace mucho hybrid picking, puede hacer algunas cosas, solo algunas cosas. Entonces la mayoría del tiempo él está cambiando. Entonces lo que él hace es usar el uñeteo con los dedos simplemente. Entonces la uñeta él la esconde en su meñique y posteriormente la puede sacar para usar la uñeta de forma normal. Entonces él dice que es una nueva técnica, ya que en el uñeteo híbrido utilizas uñeta y dedos al mismo tiempo. André solo utiliza los dedos, esconde la uñeta, y cuando necesita usar la uñeta, utiliza solo uñeta. Entonces dice que está tratando de patentar esta técnica como uñeteo mágico, ya que esconde o hace desaparecer la uñeta.
It's like the David Copperfield.
Yeah, that's it. Copperfield picking.
That's a good name. It's gonna catch on.
All right, next question.
Okay, I can go and read some questions at the chat. So,
Okay.
Let's see. Merkans says, I'm gonna ask it for you in English, and then I'm gonna translate it so as to give you time to think. It says, how can I know when to include chords like sus2, sus4 when harmonizing a song? Dice, ¿cómo puedo hacer para incluir acordes como el sus2 o 4 cuando estoy armonizando una canción?
Wow. I don't know. It depends on what kind of sounds you're after. I mean, because it's gonna give you this very like suspended sound. So if you want to go for that sound, I mean, whatever, dude. But there are some styles that use those chords like more often. Like when you play like funk, they use it a lot. Like no. Right.
The
So
Quincy
it
Jones
has this
progression.
suspended sound to it.
Que dice que no lo sé, depende del tipo de sonido que estás buscando, ya que te da un sonido muy suspendido. Si buscas ese sonido, dale, compadre, que es tema tuyo. Pero cuando tocan funk, por ejemplo, utilizan mucho esa técnica.
Yeah, it's not that I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what you're after. That's a very specific question. It depends on the song. Like when you want to play these like these are sus4 chords. So you can come up with a line like that, like that's all, sus4 chords. And sometimes you can add that chord prior to landing on the third. So you can go like so that's like B sus4, B major, B sus4, B major, and then you can do the same with with like B sus2, And go. It really depends. It's a very specific question. I really, I would need to go a little deeper and understand a little bit more what he's trying to ask. I mean, it's.
Bueno, acá dice que no es que no sepa, pero dice que la pregunta es demasiado específica y depende de lo que estás buscando en cierta canción. Puedes tocar una línea, como los ejemplos que fue tocando André, que son acordes suspendidos, o algunas veces puedes incluir eso previo a caer en la tercera. Por ejemplo, el Si suspendido y luego el Si mayor. I'm gonna look up for new questions. Jan says, how did you think the creation of Brazilian fusion music?
Wow.
How did you think about the creation? I mean, I think he means, what do you think about the creation of Brazilian fusion music?
No, because I do have a song called like Brazilian fusion. But it's not, yeah, I understand what he's trying to ask. It's like he's trying to ask how I came up with that song.
Okay.
Again, a very like, I would need to go like for hours, but basically the first part, okay, so the first part of the song, so for whoever is asking like, what the hell is that song? It's one of my songs. It's the winner of the Guitar Idol 2014. Okay, so it's a song called Brazilian Fusion. So I kind of try to mix all my influences into just one song. So it has my rock and fusion influences along with my Brazilian music influences. So it's all into just one song. And so the first part of that song, it's kind of it's chord scales. Okay, I'm sorry, it's scale chords. So it's scale chords in the key of E major. Okay, and I need to change channels here because I do have a very overdriven tone. Hang on.
Chicos, recuerden silenciar los micrófonos. Bueno, la pregunta apuntaba a cómo fue que creó la canción de Fusión Brasilera. Y dice que básicamente para poder explicar eso tendría que estar hablando por horas, pero básicamente es una canción con la cual ganó el Guitar Idol 2014 y es una canción que centra todas sus influencias.
Yeah, so the first part is in the key of E major, so E major scale, right? But I'm not thinking about like the basic, all those basic chords and whatnot. I'm actually thinking of scale chords. So what are scale chords, okay? So it's a random combination of notes within a scale. Completely random combination, okay? So let's say that I have F sharp, B, and C sharp. I mean, it's still E major, right? But you can actually name this chord. What is this chord? It's like a E sus2, sus4, 6. It doesn't really have a name, so it's like random notes harmonized within the scale. And that's what I'm doing here. So I can just go up and down using that same pattern, okay? And I'm gonna go, diatonically. Right? So it doesn't sound like your usual, It doesn't sound like that, right? It sounds more interesting. So Brazilian fusion actually came out of that system, right? And I was playing around with those chords. And all of a sudden, that line came up. And I was like, okay, it sounds great. And then next thing, I would focus on developing that line. That's as much I can say, man, because otherwise it's gonna take me like forever again to explain everything. Like I understand like people want to know about it, but there's no way that I can like explain it in a very short time, man. It's gonna take me forever.
Bueno, dice que la primera parte va dentro de la escala de mi mayor, pensando en los acordes, pero no pensando en los acordes básicos que todos conocemos, sino que pensando en los acordes de la escala, scale chords. ¿Y qué es eso? Es una combinación azarosa de los acordes dentro de la misma escala. Por ejemplo, ahí estaba tocando los acordes mayores, que seguían siendo los acordes mayores, pero en formas que no tienen un nombre como específico, son solo acordes armonizados dentro de la misma escala. Y así puedes ir subiendo y bajando utilizando el mismo patrón de forma diatónica. Entonces no suena como usualmente lo puedes tocar, que ahí, por ahí dio varios ejemplos. Suena más interesante. Entonces de ahí nació la canción, de estar jugando con eso, con ese sistema. Y es básicamente todo lo que podría explicar por ahora, porque si no, realmente que vamos a estar quizás hasta cuándo intentando explicar solo una canción. André, a student texted me saying that he wants to ask you a question.
Who?
A student texted me, Victor, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Victor?
Hi, André. I originally was going to ask how long did you use your nails in your right hand, but you did a close-up, so I saw it. But when you use finger picking, how much of the nail are you using to play the strings? Y el Mati pidió que tradujéramos porque le pregunté qué tanta uña ocupa al tocar finger picking.
Yeah, it's pretty much like half-half. So it's half nail and half the flesh.
Nice. And other question is, what would be your, I don't know, biggest tip, I guess, to someone who wants to become fluent in this finger picking lead type of lines? ¿Cuál es como su mayor tip para ser como más fluido en esto del finger picking en leads?
Yeah, so the first tip, if you've never practiced any finger picking in your life, okay, if that's your case, okay, then you wanna start with like very simple like acoustic guitar exercises, okay, like something like this, like a. Something like that, like very simple, only like going up and down, like back and forth, even more simple than that, like a. Very, very focused on technique only. Okay, so this doesn't sound like music at all, right? This sounds like shit. I'm sorry. So it sounds like shit, but it's for you to like train your right hand. And then afterwards, you can start implementing like arpeggios. So you can go like and take like a simple like F major arpeggio. And just keep going up and down. Just keep going up and down. And then like D minor 7th arpeggio. And that, okay, so from F major to D minor 7th, all you have to do is just add the low D to it. Okay, so let me change cameras. So all you have to do is just, and and then you want to become good at playing like so it's gonna be thumb, okay, thumb, hammer on, and then index finger, middle, ring finger. Okay, let me change. So that would be something like this. And then you want to do it fast, right? So right? And that's just a simple minor seventh arpeggio. Of course, it has a lot more to it, all right? But if you really want to go deep into like finger picking, I highly suggest, man, you to enroll to my finger picking course. I do have it. So if you really want to do it, just hit me up after the masterclass. I do have a special discount for you guys, 50% discount. I'm too of a market guy nowadays. I don't know why. I just kind of.
I've thought about it, but it's in Portuguese, right? Or it's in English?
No, it's not. It's in English.
Oh, it's in English.
Yeah, English.
Oh, nice.
It's actually Portuguese and English. So I do have. It's the same course. It's the same course in 2 languages.
Oh, I thought it was only in Portuguese.
No, man. No.
Oh, nice.
I wouldn't do that to you guys. Come on. I have students from all around the world. Come on.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, okay. So for everyone who's interested in my finger picking course, just hit me up after the masterclass and I'll give you 50% discount. Okay, so it's half the price.
Okay, so I'll try to emphasize the last part you were speaking about, and I'll go like very vaguely and fast on the first part on the answer, and then I'm going to go deep in the marketing part. It's kind of important. Entonces, chicos, ahí Víctor hizo 2 preguntas, uno haciendo referencia respecto de la cantidad de piel y de uña que utiliza al hacer el finger picking, y él dice que es como realmente 50-50. Y luego pide consejos para ser un buen guitarrista utilizando esta técnica, soleando. Y dice, si nunca practicaste finger picking en tu vida, debes comenzar haciendo cosas muy sencillas, arpegios con acordes básicos, con guitarra acústica, ejemplos como el que dio al comienzo, cosas muy sencillas, e incluso más sencillas que eso, en el cual fue muteando las cuerdas, que sonaba como la mierda, en palabras de André, pero es para centrarse en la práctica de la mano derecha. Y ahí sigues subiendo y bajando el nivel. Por ejemplo, también dio un ejemplo con acordes de fa y re, en el cual solo agregabas la nota en bajo, y también ibas mezclando el tema del hammer-on. Ahora, si realmente quieres mejorar en esta técnica, André nos da un 50% de descuento en sus cursos del finger picking solo por estar inscritos en esta clase. Entonces, es una técnica re interesante y André realmente nos motiva a que vayamos por su taller. Es un descuento súper potente, 50% de descuento por el taller, un taller muy potente que está en inglés y en portugués. Así que si quieren también aprender portugués, les conviene ahí comprar el taller. Está re bueno.
Awesome. So I think, maybe we can answer only like 2 more questions and we're good.
Okay. Wait, quickly. Matias Soto says, where can he find the course you were saying, in your website or something?
I'll text you the link afterwards.
Great.
Is that okay?
Ya, Matías, él va a enviar el link para que puedan comprar el curso. Ahora vamos a buscar, aquí hay una pregunta de...
Do you need it now? I'm sorry, do you need it now?
I think you could text it while I look for a new question.
Okay.
On the sake of time. Perfecto, entonces ahí ganamos tiempo y André va a textear dónde poder encontrar sus cursos. 50% de descuento, chicos. Mientras busco la pregunta. A ver. La de Mertcan había visto. Dice, what's your amp setting? And he says he loves you a lot. Entonces, Mertcan pregunta respecto de tu seteo del amplificador.
Hang on.
Yeah, no worries.
Texting Matthias. Okay, what are my amp settings? So as you guys can see, I'm using the Wagner Ecstasy 20th anniversary edition. So it's a version. I think it was released in 2012 or 13. So I've had this amp for like almost 10 years now, and it's my main amp. So every time I'm like on the road or at home or in the studio, every time I want to go with that amp. So I mean, like Wagner, he makes the best amps ever. Okay, and but I'm not using that cabinet. Okay, I'm not using so that 4x12 is there only for like for visual purposes. So it's not being used. So out of the head, okay, is coming. So it's coming out of the head, and it's going in the SIR reactive load box. Okay, and so out of the SIR is coming in my interface. So with the SIR box, okay, so what it does is it loads down the signal from the amp. It turns it into a digital digital signal, okay, and it applies how can I say? So it applies this simulation of cabinet and mic, okay. So it's all digital. So everything that you hear, it's a real amp, okay. So it's coming out of the amp. But as far as mics and cabinets, it's all digital. So there's no real cabinets involved. Okay. And as far as my setting goes, it's like I tend to keep like everything, like almost everything at 4. You know, at like 10 o'clock. I don't know why it just works with that amp. So it's pretty much like everything at 10 o'clock. And I'm running it to the SIR reactive load box. And in the SIR, I have a 4x12 filled with, I think it's Celestian greenbacks, okay, and it's mic'd with a SM57, but it's all simulations. There's no like real cabinets, okay.
Ya. Acá dice que el ampli que él está utilizando es el 20 aniversario del Wagner. No recuerda bien si lo sacó el 2012, fue sacado el 2012 o el 2013, pero es un ampli que ha tenido cerca de 10 años y es su ampli preferido. Siempre suele usar ese ampli y al parecer el Wagner es la mejor marca de todas o su marca preferida. Pero ojo con el gabinete que está ahí simplemente por propósitos visuales, el legacy ahí que tiene. Es solo por propósitos visuales, ya que del cabezal llega al SUR Reactive Load Box y del SUR sale al interfaz. Y eso le da la emulación del micrófono y el gabinete. Entonces, todo lo que escucha respecto del ampli es el ampli, efectivamente, pero el resto es digital. Ahora, respecto del seteo, tiende a tener todo en las 10 en punto, en el nivel número 4. No sabe por qué, pero funciona demasiado bien con el ampli y es su sonido preferido. And now there's time for the final question, you said?
I have a question too.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been here for like almost 2 hours, and I think it's a pretty intense lesson so far.
So we're done, Mati?
What's the next lesson? What's the next question?
Mati said he wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's a quick question actually. But how important is the Brazilian music in your playing, in your composing process?
I mean, it's very important because ever since I was a kid, I've been listening to the music of my country, and I think if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be playing finger picking on the guitar, on the electric guitar, because actually I started playing finger picking on the acoustic guitar because of Brazilian music.
But you
And
have
then
a
I
classical
actually,
formation, right?
what's that?
Do you have classical formation?
No, actually, no. I studied. I was like self-taught when it comes to like classical. But I studied like jazz and Brazilian music at a local conservatory here. But as far as like acoustic guitar, like classical guitar, I'm completely self-taught. I've never had any lessons. Okay, so yeah,
Thank
so
you.
it's very important, man. I mean, not only for like leads, but also for chords. When you play like Brazilian music, dude, so many chords, like so many different voicings and whatnot. It's very interesting, and I'm very, I'm kind of, I mean, I'm kind of like privileged,
Yeah, actually,
to
when I was in the guitar school, on my music school, on the fourth year, we used to play lots of choros,
choro, yeah.
and they are like pretty technical stuff, And they say like this is for technique and also for like harmony, how to learn harmony, like playing all those lines like tico tico, like descendo a serra, you know.
Yeah,
Actually, I have all that stuff here.
yeah, yeah. Something like, yeah, something like that. So it's very advanced, and when you like hear it, you're like, holy shit, man. Will I be able to actually play it? And so it took me a long time to like figure out, the chords and whatnot. But it did actually like impact me on my electric guitar playing. Not only you do have the charts, yeah. Not only on like on the lead playing, but also on the chord stuff. Like all the chords, man. When you play it, like even like a simple bossa nova, like all these chords. You're like, holy shit, man. So it really helped me with
Absolutely,
that as well.
it's a really rich music to
Yeah,
learn
it is.
guitar.
And
And
as I
also,
said, like I'm very like I feel privileged to like ever since I was a kid to be like listening to that kind of music, and like none of this feels like sounds weird to me. You know, none of these chords, because I've been listening to it ever since I was a kid. So ever since I was a kid, and I was like, I was used to like hearing all those chords and all those harmonies and whatnot. Yeah.
nice, nice. I don't know. Are you up for our last question, or do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, sure.
Okay, so Ignacio.
Are you up for
Let's
me
go until
translating?
8, okay? Let's go until 8.
Okay, sure.
Let me have the time to translate what you just said.
Okay.
Bueno, Matías preguntó qué tan importante es la música brasilera en el proceso de composición de André. Dijo que es muy importante porque desde que era niño escuchaba mucha música de su país, y si no fuera por eso no estaría tocando finger picking, ya que es algo que se trajo desde la música de su país. Él no tiene formación formal en música clásica, fue autodidacta en este estilo, ya que él estudió jazz y música brasileña en un conservatorio local, pero aparte de eso nunca tuvo clases. Y él siente que es muy importante no solo para los solos, sino que también para sus acordes. Él se siente privilegiado de haber crecido en este entorno. Dice que hay técnicas muy avanzadas como lo que estaba mencionando Mati, o estilos como el choro, algo así. Mati. Y luego tú escuchas esos acordes y es como, loco, ¿seré capaz de tocar esto? Y toma mucho tiempo tomar el hilo de los acordes y llevarlos a la guitarra eléctrica, extrapolarlo a la guitarra eléctrica. Fue un mundo nuevo y fue bonito para él, fue un buen proceso. Y de nuevo, no solamente en los solos, sino que también en los acordes, porque incluso una simple melodía de bossa nova, todos los acordes son como que cresta. Entonces, para él nada se le hace extraño y se siente realmente privilegiado de haber escuchado esta música desde muy niño, desde muy pequeño, ya que ahora nada de esos acordes se le hace extraño, nada se le hace raro, porque esas armonías crecieron con él. And then luego dijo que le vamos a dar un ratito más para preguntas. Tuvo una muy buena voluntad. Y veo que Ignacio González levantó la mano. Y André, a student called Ignacio González raised his hand and he's going to ask a question.
Okay.
Ignacio, de nuevo, si puedes decir en inglés y luego traducir.
Okay.
Ignacio?
Yeah,
Cool.
no problem. Thank you. Hello, André. It's really a privilege to talk to you in English, like having the possibility to not to comment, but speaking to you. So thank you for that. I would really like to ask you about how you consider this idea of rhythm, more like using a lot of notes. How you appreciate the use of silence, or like figures like the pauses that you can take during a song or during a performance, like for emphasizing something, or like for preparing for the shreddy part or something like that. And I will translate what I've said for the people. Le dije a André que muchas gracias por dejarme hablar con él. Bacán hablar con él en inglés, y aproveché la oportunidad de conversar con él en vivo, y que mi pregunta era que cuál era su apreciación respecto al uso de los silencios o las pausas a través de una canción para, no sé, acentuar una parte, o también para dejar como bandejeadas las cosas para hacer alguna parte como más virtuosa.
Awesome. Thanks for your question, buddy. Ignacio?
Yeah.
Is that your name? Cool, man.
Yeah, Ignacio
Thanks
González.
for being here, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. You too.
Okay, so silence. Yeah, pauses are a very important part of your phrasing. Okay, so you shouldn't phrase. I mean, you should use pauses. Okay, so how do I do it? So how do I think of pauses? That's your question, right?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel that when you're shredding, or like for example in my case, like in gear 4, like shredding, and when do I have a pause? How can I get to that pause, like without being too obvious or too predictable?
Okay, well, you might experimenting like pausing in different parts. It's all about experimenting. Okay, but I would say, okay, it's almost as if you're speaking. You know what I mean? So when you speak, I mean, some people they speak fast, but others they speak slow and they take pauses in between lines. Okay, I'm a slow speaker. I don't speak too fast, so most time I'm actually taking like I'm taking like pauses in between lines, and that's pretty much what I do when it comes to phrasing. Okay, and sometimes when I speak, sometimes I'm speaking fast. I don't know why. Maybe that's why it's the same. I think it's the same. It's the same principle.
Yeah,
Okay,
as a
so
fun thing, Andre, I study linguistics and literature, so I'm really digging this idea of music as a speech like context, as a
yeah,
speech practice. So like it's very meaningful what you have said to me.
yeah. When and you can actually. So why don't you practice like that? Like something like I want to go home. Almost if you're like singing, Okay, so let's try this. It's almost as if you're singing. All I want to know is if you are getting what I'm saying. It's almost like I'm speaking through my guitar, something like that. I mean, it's really hard to like explain in very like detail what
Yeah.
I'm playing, but if you notice, like our main idols, are like guitar idols. It's pretty much it. if you take, for example, like Joe Satriani or Steve Vai, they really know the importance of pauses. Like, and if you ask Joe, okay,
Mhm.
he's gonna ask you, he's gonna answer you the same thing. He's gonna, okay, it's pretty much as if I'm talking, if I'm singing. So you want to have pauses, because otherwise it's too much information for the listener to grasp onto. It's too much information. And if you notice, again, it's the same thing. So let's say that I don't stop talking. I don't stop talking. So it's hard to follow, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to follow when you see, like, when you hear like someone like speaking like nonstop. It's freaking hard to follow, man. So you see how these pauses between the lines I'm speaking really set the theme again. You
Yeah.
see?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when you're improvising, man. It's the same thing. So if you follow that system, you should be good. You should be good. So don't just play like if you're like rambling all the time, like. After a while, I mean, you can't just relate to that. It sounds boring, right?
Yeah.
In some moments, it's okay. When I want to like say like very like intense, and I want to be like very tight and very serious about it. I want to say that in a very like in a very like serious way and very fast. Like, you shouldn't do that because you need to know. Blah, 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 right? So it's
Yeah.
the same principle. So you should
Yeah.
like balance things out.
Thank you so much, Andre. That
Awesome.
was a very good answer, and I will try to apply it. So I will do my best, like, for learning a little bit better on that while in my last semester of studying.
Awesome, buddy. Have a good one, man.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
too.
All right. So
Bueno,
very, very last question, okay? Otherwise, I'm gonna get killed by my
can I
girlfriend.
translate that though, or would you prefer for me to ask the question and then translate both of them?
Whatever.
Ok, dicen que, bueno, para resumir brevemente, dice que los silencios y las pausas son muy importantes al momento de generar los fraseos. ¿Y cómo hacer esto sin sonar muy obvio, muy predecible? Todo se trata de experimentar. Esto es como si estuvieras hablando. Hay personas que hablan muy rápido, otras que hablan muy despacio. Es lo mismo que se hace cuando se improvisa. Él a lo largo de su vida habla muy despacio, entonces eso se ve relacionado en sus fraseos. Por eso él identifica pausas muy bien, porque es el lenguaje que él domina. Él se expresa así, normalmente. Y dice que si hablas con Joe Satriani o con Steve Vai, ojalá, ellos van a decir lo mismo, que esto es como una conversación. Entonces, cuando hablen con Satriani, les preguntan, dicen cómo lo hacen con el tema de las pausas, y dicen es lo mismo que si estuvieras conversando, porque si no vas a aburrir al oyente al darles demasiada información. Y es lo mismo que si hablas muy rápido, muy serio, le gritas, generas una impresión negativa en el oyente. Y la última pregunta, hay un chico que creo que tiene la mano levantada.
Vale, compa, muchas gracias, por cierto.
Ok, dice Eduardo Salas. I think the last question.
Lo más preciso posible, Eduardo, por favor.
Accurate.
Okay, and it's very short. Hi, André. Thanks for being here. How did your life change when you won Guitar Idol?
Well, thank you, man. I mean, first of all, thank you for being here. And well, it was an amazing. I mean, one of the biggest achievements in my life, right? To be, the winner of Guitar Idol, playing kind of a Brazilian music. It was very awkward. I wasn't expecting that at all. Like, we had like Jack Gardner, we had, like that, the guy from Greece, Yanis. We had all those amazing players playing like, playing their ass off, and there was I, and if I mean, you can tell by the video, I tripped one time. Like I I almost fell on stage. There was this like point where I tipped, on somebody else's pedal board on the floor, and I almost fell like that, and I missed a lot of notes, but I carried on and whatnot. So it was a fun experience, like getting to know all those great players and whatnot. And but I should point out that at that time I was already like touring with Virgil. I was touring all around the world. Okay, so it was a big achievement. But even if it wasn't for like Guitar Idol, I would be doing the same thing even without it. Okay, so it's not that you don't want to take like you don't want to say something like, okay, so if it wasn't for Guitar Idol, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't say that. That like prizes, like championships and stuff like that can't define who you are. Okay, so even if you don't win anything, you don't win or lose and whatnot, you have to carry on and do the best. Okay, so the biggest lesson here is, yeah, it did help me. It helped. Like I was like presented to a larger audience, but at the same time I was already touring the world and whatnot, so it did help, but it wasn't like the main thing in my career, to be honest with you. It wasn't like I'm being like very honest, like very sincere. Okay, if I didn't win Guitar Idol, that would change anything in my life, but that wouldn't change anything, right? And the same goes for you guys. It's not because you guys didn't win any competition or you have like no prizes whatsoever. It shouldn't stop you from going forward. Okay. Does that make sense?
Okay, dude, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Ok, bueno, acá la pregunta era básicamente ¿en qué cambió tu vida o cómo cambió tu vida el ganar Guitar Idol? André dice que fue uno de los logros más grandes que ha tenido en términos de que lo hizo tocando música brasilera. Y fue muy raro para él porque lo hizo tocando la música de su país natal y no estaba esperando eso para nada. Había muchos músicos increíbles, Jack Gardner entre ellos, y ahí estaba yo. Y de hecho pueden ver en el video que él tropezó en el escenario y casi se cae porque tropezó con el pedalboard de alguien más. Erró muchas notas, pero él le dio con todo, lo pasó súper bien, fue una tremenda experiencia el compartir con todos esos músicos. Pero a esa altura él ya estaba de gira mundial con Virgil Donati. Entonces, si no fuera por eso, por haber ganado Guitar Idol, él seguiría haciendo lo mismo. Y acá tira un mensaje como que no es como si no hubiese ganado Guitar Idol, no estaría siendo un guitarrista o no estaría viviendo de la música. Porque André señala que los premios, los campeonatos no definen lo que tú eres, no te determinan como persona. Aún así, si no ganas nada, sigues siendo la misma persona. En ese sentido, tú debes seguir trabajando sobre ti mismo en qué formas puedes mejorar. ¿Le ayudó a ganar Guitar Idol? Sí, lo presentó a un escenario, a una audiencia mayor, pero a la vez ya estaba haciendo giras mundiales. Entonces, si no lo hubiera ganado, no hubiera cambiado en nada su vida. Y eso debe aplicar para nosotros también, dice un consejo, como la vida misma.
Like, you guys are in the right track. I mean, this is very hard to do, and you guys pulled it off. So, it's a free event, so you guys have to be sponsored. You guys need to go for sponsors and whatnot. This is very hard to do, man. So, and you guys pulled it off like perfectly. So, props to you. I really want to, clap hands for you guys because, it's not always you see stuff like this happening, and you guys pulled it off. So, yeah, you guys are the real winners here, are the real artists here. I'm here only for like entertainment like purposes, but you guys are the main artists. So thank you very much for having me on board, and you can count on me for anything that you guys want to do. It's my pleasure to be here with you guys, teaching whatever I can to the students, giving my own perspective of guitar playing life and whatnot. So hope we can do this more often. in the near future. And thank you guys very much. Yeah, this is it.
Bueno, ahí André decía que vamos en el camino correcto de haber hecho este evento de forma gratuita, organizado de la forma en que se hizo, consiguiendo sponsors y todo. Es algo muy complejo de hacer, es algo que no siempre pasa, que no vemos que siempre está pasando. Y André dice que nosotros somos los verdaderos ganadores, así que está bonito ese comentario, un buen chat. Dice que él está acá solamente con finalidades de entretención. Y dice que si gustan lo pueden contactar, él nos va a dar las perspectivas como estudiante y espero